Libra, what's up, y'all? How you guys doing? It's time for the weekly check-in. We're going to see how these energies are looking for you guys for the 4th week of January 2026. January week 4. So it's a weekly check-in, so it's just a short, quick, general, energetic overview. If any of you need a personal reading, all the information is in the description of this video. All right, find a deck that'll talk to me. Let's see how these energies are looking between Libra and the person they're dealing with, universe. How these energies looking. Ooh, Ten of Swords reversed. I think a lot of you are doing healing that you don't realize you're doing. Yeah, okay. You know, that's the funny thing about healing. Most people who think that they're healed are not. And most people who are healing don't realize how much they're healing. You know, most people think that, well, I haven't thought about it in a few months. It doesn't hurt no more. I'm healed. No, the fuck you're not. Oh, it was so long ago. That doesn't fucking matter. I don't know who came up with that stupid phrase, time heals all wounds, but I want to slap the shit out of them. If time healed all wounds, there would be no such thing as childhood trauma. There would be no such thing as psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists. I mean, if time healed wounds, there would be no need for any of that shit. I'm not saying that that's the solution, but you get the point I'm making. Time does not heal wounds. The healing process is a painful process. It sucks. It's not fun. That's why most people who are truly healing, they end up coming to me saying, what am I doing wrong? What is it that I'm not seeing? What is it that I'm missing? And I tell them nothing. What makes you think you're doing something wrong? Because this is such a painful process. I'm like, that means you're doing it right. Healing doesn't mean let go, move on, and forget about it. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. We all learned this in elementary school. It only changes form. The only way your energy is going to change form is if you consciously make it change form. And that's a hurtful process. Anyway, though, I'm trailing off a little bit. I ain't even gotten to the meat and taters of the fucking spread yet. I think communication's coming in here. I think so. And there's a roller coaster of emotions that I'm seeing here, dude. It's a painful process. It's hurtful. All these energies bubble up to the surface, which is what we're afraid of. It sucks, I know. I'm not saying this shit's easy. No. Oh, this shit hurts, dude. All them energies come bubbling up to the surface. You know, you're going back and running through everything in your mind and having to relive all those energies. But something interesting happens when you purge all that energy out. Things start clicking into place and making sense. And I think that a conversation with this person is exactly what you need. It's exactly what you need, because I'm convinced this is a collective thing. For the past 2 weeks, I've been telling almost I think there's only like 2 or 3 signs I haven't said this to. On the other side of this, blessings are waiting for you. On the other side of this connection, there's a divine life partner. And when I say on the other side of this, I mean that when you're able to release, let go of, and heal from this, you step into the next frequency, which will vibrationally align you with that person right there. It's a collective thing, man. I swear to God. Because 2026, I almost don't even want to say it, because we've all said this so many times over the last few years. But 2026 is the fucking year we've all been waiting on. All of us. They've done a real good job blocking us from knowing the timeline. Anybody that pretends they know the exact timeline, stay away from them. Nobody does. Nobody. There is no tarot reader, no psychic, no world-renowned channeler. Nobody has been granted access to all the details of the timeline that we've been on for the last 5-6 years. So the majority of us can only speculate based on the energy. And these motherfuckers got technology that would blow your mind. So right when even those of us who know how energy behaves, right when we think, oh man, it's going to go this way, they switch it up on you. And then it goes that way. So it's been a roller coaster for the past few years, but 2026 is the year we've been waiting on. It's going to be massively transformational for everybody. Everybody. A lot of people got a divine life partner waiting on them. A whole lot. And maybe for some of you, a conversation with this person is just what you need to begin releasing the last bit of this energy that's tying you down to them. And you may not even realize it, neither. You may not even realize that's what's happening, because it is a painful process. I'm feeling like a conversation, though, clearing the air. That's interesting. Okay, well, anyway, let's see what signs I have on the table here. I have Leo, Gemini, Aries, Taurus, Virgo, Taurus again. Oops. Cancer. Could be anybody, though, y'all. Those are just energies. Let's see how they feel about you and what their true intentions are. Person Libra dealing with. What are their truest, deepest feelings, energies, and intentions? I mean, I think they would like to clear the air with you. I think so. Can't say much about that, though. Hang on. Well, okay. They realize they screwed up. They realize that. There is a part of them that is regretful. They wish they did things differently. But it's like, well, it is what it is. I screwed up. I own it. It is what it is. So, I don't think they're trying to rebuild this. I think they're trying to move forward. But I do think they want to clear the air and close things out. I think so. And then this has to come out. Damn it, man. Contemplating it. They do have feelings for you, though. They do have feelings for you. But I don't think that they truly believe that it will ever work. So they're not trying to extinguish the flames and rebuild the tower. They're not trying to do that. So, honestly, I don't even think this person's mature enough to, like, what it would take to reconcile successfully. Like, I'm not saying nothing bad about this person. I'm not saying they didn't do anything bad, but all these goddamn pages, I don't really think they hold the maturity to take accountability, own up to their shit, and then actually do the work that it would take to create the change necessary to facilitate a successful reconciliation. I don't think so. And, I think maybe they know that. They very well may know that. And so they at least, I think, want to close this shit out. but they're contemplating it. I don't know what contemplating it means. Let's get some advice. Thank you for the super chat. What's your name? Brother Heck something? Oops. And give it a heart. There you go. Appreciate that. Thank you. Let's get the advice. What's the advice? Monitor your vibration, monitor your frequency. Hang on. This may be some strange advice that you may think has nothing to do with your love life, but it does. Okay? Monitor your vibration and monitor your frequency. So, look, one thing that has been, like, those of us in the spiritual community who are real and authentic, we have been fighting a battle that a lot of you know nothing about. And that is the infiltration of bullshit in the spiritual community. Straight up bullshit. Right? And see, and we live in a day and age today where any random person can go live on their phone in their own home and earn a fucking living. Anybody can. But in order to do that, you have to grab an audience's attention. And there's all kinds of cliques and niches and genres of things that you can get involved in. And the spiritual community is filled with people who give no fucks about spirituality. They give no fucks about helping you. Right? All they do is they grab the little woo-woo, fluffy-duffy, artsy-fartsy phrases and terms and metaphors, and they throw them around and make it sound all cute. They don't give a fuck about you. All they're trying to do is be famous and make money. That's all they care about. And those of us who actually want to help you fucking awaken, we have been fighting this battle against that bullshit for years, okay? The spiritual path does not mean that you're gonna glow, float on a cloud, shit rainbows, and never have a negative thought. That's a load of horse shit. I fell into that trap too when I first stepped onto the path. That's not real. That's bullshit. We're all regular ass humans up in here. We all put our pants on one leg at a time. We all wipe our ass when we doo-doo. We all step into low vibrational states. We all have a red flag. We all have a toxic trait. We all have an emotional trigger. Okay? The spiritual path means I acknowledge and own that. Spiritual path means that when I get triggered, I own it. Whoa, my vibe sucks right now. Okay, I better pull myself out of this, because if I don't, I'm a magnet to people, situations, scenarios, relationships that harmoniously resonate with this shitty vibration I'm putting out in the air right now. That's the spiritual path. Not glowing and floating on a cloud and ooh la 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 la. That's bullshit. Bullshit. Ain't nobody out there lives that kind of life. I've mingled a lot in the spiritual community. I have met and at least shaken hands with some of the most famous people in the spiritual community. Trust me, they all regular ass humans. Okay? So monitor your frequency and your vibration. Monitor it. Okay? And if you're put in the position to be able to reconnect with somebody you fell out with, take it for what it's worth. Extend any apologies you may owe. Accept any apologies that are handed to you. And take that as an opportunity to get on a newer, higher timeline. To shed old vibrational baggage. You know, I do a lot of readings for people who are wondering why they've reconnected with some past person. Some people, it's been somebody I haven't seen in 15 years. You know what it is 75% of the time? not 100%, but 75% of the time, the universe is putting that person back in your life so that you can finish releasing it. Because while you've moved on from it, it's just sinking down to the pit of your unconscious mind. So that person's coming back into your life to trigger that energy back up to the surface so you can finish processing it. 75% of the time. So, anywho, let's see how the energy's looking generally for the singles. How's the energy looking generally for the singles? Anything new coming in? Anything old coming in? Anything good coming in? Anything bad coming in? Anything coming in at all? 6 of Wands reversed. Uh-oh, you might be tested. Yup. Ooh, and the Tower reverse. Some of y'all, I've seen a few different things here. I'm going to try to generalize it down to one point, though. You're going to be tested one way or the other. Some of you are being tested with a past person. But see, here's the thing. It doesn't really matter who it's with. We don't want to conflate lessons and tests. A lot of people like to conflate those two things. People say things like, oh man, when am I going to be done being tested? I've had so many life lessons over the past 5 years. All you've had is life lessons. You haven't even started being tested yet. Haven't even started. A lesson is a brand new experience. Brand new. I've never dealt with a person like this before. I've never been in a situation like this before. There's nothing about this person, this situation, this scenario, this environment that's anywhere near the realms of familiarity for me. That's a lesson. And that's going to play itself out one way or the other. You ain't going to avoid that. First, you're given the lesson, then you're tested on it. Sometimes you're tested with the same fucking person, if you're lucky, right? Because that's easy. That's easy. When it's the same fucking person, that's easy. You already know that they're very likely bringing the same shit back to the table that they walked away from. But sometimes you're in a totally different situation with somebody, but something about it mirrors something that you've been through before. Something. And I think that's what's happening here. Some of you, it's a new person. Some of you, it's a past person. Either way, it's a test. Either way. Something that you've experienced before. Something, somehow, some way. So, that puts a monkey wrench in my flow. Ooh, see, I told you. You're tested when? When it's time to level up. When it's time to level up, that's when you're tested. Because I'm telling you, collectively, everybody got blessings waiting on them. I'm excited to see the end of this year. How many of you up-level your life? I think a lot of you going to this year. A whole lot. I wish I could say all of you. That's my goal. My goal is to help every last one of you scale your life up this year. I don't know if that's realistic to expect that, but that's the goal. Let's get some advice, general advice for the singles. My hands are a little bit tied when it comes to what I can tell you when you're being tested, because it's a test. I can't give you the answers to the test. Man, 7 of Swords again, though. Okay, I can just give you a few little points. Be very careful getting into a relationship just because you're feeling lonely. Careful with that. That's like drinking poison just because you're thirsty. And be really careful getting into a relationship with someone just because that person makes you feel so good that you forget about all of your problems. Isn't that what we've all been doing for the past how many fucking decades? Come on now. That's all we hear sung about in the music. That's all we see in the movies. That's all any of us have done, is we look for the person that elicits the most intoxicating explosion of emotions. That's what we all been doing. Well, how's that working out for everybody? If that was working out for everybody, I wouldn't have a fucking job. Divorce attorneys wouldn't have a job. Marriage counselors wouldn't have a fucking job. So be careful with that. Now, I'm not saying that that should be absent. I'm not saying that when you meet your person, it shouldn't create an explosion of emotions. That's a beautiful thing. What I'm saying is that's not to be confused for love, because it's not. Even when you do meet your actual fucking person, that feeling is going to dwindle away. We're looking for transparency. The most calm, relaxing, natural, neutral feeling of trust and transparency that you ain't felt with nobody on this planet except your damn mama. Everybody thinks they felt that before. No, you have not. Oh, that's how it felt when I met my first husband. No, it didn't. That's how it felt when I met my first wife. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. You don't feel that level of trust and transparency unless that level of trust and transparency is actually there. If that level of trust and transparency was actually there, that person wouldn't be your ex right now. Where people get confused is when you pick the person that creates the most intense explosion of emotions that pulls the wool over your eyes. You're not even thinking clearly enough to be able to decipher whether or not you can trust this person. You get addicted to them. You get high on them like a drug. Just like how the alcoholic swears up and down that they don't have an alcohol problem, right? They're lying to themselves. They depend on that so much to distract them from the bullshit that's going on in their heart, that they're not even looking at the red flags. They're not even capable of thinking about that. And even if they do see a red flag, they come up with a lie. That's not trust and transparency. Trust and transparency is what you feel with your mama. Do you love your mom? Of course you do. But when you're in the same room with your mom, is it explosive? No. Is it intoxicating? No. It's calm, natural, and neutral. If your mama told you that last weekend it was raining jelly beans, you know she's telling you the truth. You know it. You just know it without a second fucking thought in your mind. You know it. That's how transparent it is. That's a hard thing to describe. That's really hard to describe. So what we're looking for is transparency. Okay. And again, though, see, when you're being tested, don't freak out. You've been through this before. You've been through it before when you're being tested. If this takes you back to something that you've seen, something that you've heard, I've been there, done that, bought the beer koozie and the t-shirt, and stepped in the dog shit on the way out the door. And you do the same thing you did last time, you gonna get the same thing you got last time. But it's time for a level up. Nobody levels up without being tested. Nobody. 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 Everybody is tested when it's time to level up. Everybody. All right, y'all. I feel like those were the messages that my Libra family needed to hear. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thanks again for tuning in and playing along. Don't forget, information for personal readings is all down here in the description. All right? I'm out of here now, y'all. I will see you sometime between now and the rest of all eternity. Stay blessed.